Welcome to the Bracky Factory and welcome to the latest thrilling episode about my big American LaFrance V12 engine. Now, if you watched the last episode, you'll have seen that I sorted out all of the lubrication system, and it was merely a case of finishing the carbs, connecting them up, sticking some fuel in and starting her up, wasn't it? But I'm afraid to say the big old girl is saying not quite so soon, except in an American accent. So let me explain the problem. So if you watched the last episode, you remember at the very end I spotted that this valve here, you can see that gap there, must be sticking. So I thought it was a simple case of just knocking that valve back. So let's just quickly take a look at, so this exhaust valve, this is the one of the ones that was sticking. Now if I put my pen inside there against the head of the exhaust valve, watch what happens when I turn the engine over. Of course the pen goes Now look what happens when I stick it down inside this one, the Duff one. Nothing at all. And you've not got to be a rocket scientist to know that that's not good at all. So here we are over the bench looking at a cross section of the engine, and this is the valve just here. So what I think has happened is that at some stage, probably when the engine was still in the truck and running, it snapped just here. And because of this unusual combustion chamber design, it's like a vertical slot, the valve head can't just fall into on top of the piston, which is a good thing. So the engine was left running on 11 cylinders, and you probably didn't even notice. And then, while it sat there for the last 25 years, this valve stem, I suppose, the valve stem has partially seized in here, which is stopping it coming all the way. So unfortunately, it means, if I'm right, it means a new valve. It means I've got to take off the inlet and exhaust manifold. I've got to take off these little heads here and get inside there and have a look. So let's delve in, shall we? So it's a really unusual design in that it's got a cylinder head and the valves are in the cylinder head, but the cylinder head has got extra, if you like, cylinder heads. It's got a cylinder head on the cylinder head, and these are like little flat heads. So I can remove these individually. There are 3 on each side, but I need to remove the middle one, and I really need to gain access to these bolts properly because I can't get anything properly on them. My fear is that these are going to shear, which would be extremely bad. We've already got a little problem in that one of the spark plugs is sheared in there. I'm not overly concerned about that. I'm more concerned about the flipping valve in there. So got to take all this lot off now. Kind of been itching to take it off anyway, really, because there's loads of rubbish inside there to get out. Got to take these off. That'll allow me to see down inside the exhaust port, see what's going on, and then of course take these heads off and hope that the bolts don't shear, and take it from there. Here it comes. So the manifolds are off, and this is what an exhaust valve looks like. And if we go into here, oh, what is that? Lying there at a jaunty angle. That shouldn't be like that. So yeah, theory proven. So now we need to get this cylinder head off, but it's a bit scary. I've loosened off some of these bolts, but the other ones just don't want to go. I just don't want to put a breaker bar and just shear them off. So I'm just going to clean them out and just maybe try and squirt some penetrating oil in and leave them to soak. See how that works out. And here we go. Off you come. Ta-da! So there's the combustion chamber, and you can see it's taken a bit of a hammering. Been cleaned up nicely with the valve head floating around inside. So let's have a look inside. So that's what an exhaust valve should look like, and that's what we've got. Oh, there it is. And that's our exhaust valve. Notice how A, it's very rounded, and B, it's a lot smaller than it should be. That basically tells me that it's been slamming around in there for a very long time, and will have also obviously knackered the valve seat. So we've got a bit of a challenge there, haven't we? So this is what would have happened inside the engine. Basically got a piston that just constantly pounded the valve into the seat and the head for, it looks like, a very long time. So that is all a little bit disappointing, to say the least, but as the saying goes, it'll be all right in the end, and if it's not all right, it's not the end. So it's certainly not the end of this. So I think what I need to do now is I need to get this stem out, and I need to get out another decent, hopefully, exhaust valve for reference purposes, so I can at least try and start sourcing a valve. And then I've got to worry about how I'm going to cut a new valve seat on there. So let's whip the valves out, shall we? So I'm just cleaning up this surface here and taking these gaskets off. And this is the exhaust gasket at this end. It's not ideal, is it? And it's broken as well. I'm getting deeper and deeper here, aren't I? So what's going on here is I'm about to take the valve out, and what I've done is I've stuffed a rag underneath the valve and collets, because down in there is like some kind of abyss. So if the collets fall down in there, I don't think I'm ever getting them out. So I've put a rag underneath there to catch them when they inevitably ping out. And I've got a valve compression tool on there. So I'm just going to try and pop these collets out and take the valve out. Right, got these very long pliers, which are quite handy. I'm just going to try and take this collet out. Come on. Oh, one's already fallen off. The bottom one's already fallen down. There it is. Wouldn't want that falling down inside the engine, would we? And I think that is the other one. They definitely would have fallen down inside. There, both of them. I'll pick them up before they fall down inside. Now we can just back this off slightly. And release the tool. So we should be able to take the valve out now. And out it comes. And that's the valve. So that's the valve. Let's take the other stem out now. So just pulling out the other one now. A bit trickier to get out for some reason. And I might struggle to have to use this little spacer to where the valve head went. Be careful not to drop that down inside the cylinder. So all I've got to do now is try and get the stem out. And here it comes. The There's the rest of the valve. Right, let's go with the bench and take a look. So here I am back at the bench assessing the damage yet again, and here is the offending valve that's now been removed, and you can see that it obviously snapped and then it went bang 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 bang, probably I'd say thousands and thousands of times to reduce it to the state that it's in. So this diameter here is 33.5 mil. What it should be is 40 millimeters. It's actually bang on 40 mil. And the length is bang on 13 centimeters. But the stem, I kind of thought it'd be imperial, but it's not quite 3/8. Metric, it is 8.6 mil. So suspect these are made out of pure unobtainium, but if you know of anybody who's got one of these, or if you've got any pointers, then I need one of those, don't I? At least one. So there you have it, more horrors from the big V12. So what next? My choices are, I could throw it back together with 11 cylinders working out of 12 and run it up. Not such a daft idea, because it would probably run. Well, it would definitely run. It did run. And it also might flush out lots of other issues, like a rumbling crank or big ends or something like that. I could source a new valve and recut the seat and put the valve in. Could do that, not a bad idea. Or I could totally strip down both cylinder heads and redo all the valves and all the seats and the full Monty. What would you do? I think what I'm going to do is sit down, get a beer and come up with a plan. But if you want to find out what the plan is, you'll have to tune in next time. So if you like that, please hit like. If you're not subscribed, please subscribe and you'll get to find out what the plan is. If you want to leave a comment, please do so. I like to read and respond to every single comment, particularly if you've got any comments about what you would do or where you might get some valves from. Also, don't forget, I've got the shop and I'm selling this awesome stuff, this design by Stefan Marjoram. So go down there and get yourself an awesome t-shirt. But for now, thanks for watching.